Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So guess who climbed from under her rock? Hillary Clinton. The moment that you hear somebody getting shot or missile fired off, she pops her head up. Part of the reason why I thought Donald Trump may have been a better option than Hillary. And look, I voted for Jill Stein. I greatly despise Trump. But part of the reason, I thought there might have been three. One, he wasn't going to sign the TPP. That's done. Two, it allows some level of opposition against Trump that you wouldn't necessarily against Hillary, even though, for the most part, the difference between them would just be a matter of degrees. The third one, he's being conciliatory with Russia, meaning Hillary's role, the things she was going to do in that office, could have very well caused a nuclear war. The belief up to that point was that Donald Trump, at the very least, was saying, yes, I don't want a war with Russia. Attacking Syria, who's being backed by Russia, that is a 180 in regards to strategy. And I suspect that's why Clinton is here, kind of saying, hey, this was my plan. My plan was to have a war with Russia, and he's on his way to having that war with Russia. Let's hear what you got to say. I guarantee you it's not going to be good. I'm amazed that these people show their faces. One crook, Donna Brazil. The other one, Deborah Wall-Smith-Schultz. And now you have her, who probably should be in prison right now, coming out here making a statement. Saying that, yes, this missile strike that could lead to a war is absolutely awesome, but it doesn't go far enough. Let's hear.
Look, Syria has been a wicked problem for a very long time. And the images of innocent people, of parents, and especially of children, suffering in the aftermath of that most recent deadly gas attack were more appalling than I certainly can put into words.
How many people died in your actions in Libya? Tell me that, Hillary Clinton. How many people died by your actions in Libya? Did that shock your conscience? It shocked my conscience. You turned that country into a dumpster fire. Literally. How many people died in your actions when you made that vote for the Iraq war? What justification, what pretense, what were you using as your authority to give that crazy, dumbass maniac, George Bush, who's effectively a war criminal, authorization to go into a country that had nothing to do with attacking us? He killed 1 million people. 1 million people, 1 million Iraqis. Nothing to do with attacking us. He killed 3,000 Americans. He spent $6 trillion to do it. That country, that region of the world, is still in flames today based on the actions that you took. But let me guess. Those aren't things we want to talk about. You want to be very specific in the conversation you want to have right now. The conversation you want to have is about Syria. All right, tell me. Show me the investigation that demonstrates that Bashar al-Assad dropped those weapons. Show me the evidence. You don't have any because Donald Trump didn't let that particular process complete itself. Now, even if there is evidence, let's say there is. Let's say they did it. So what? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Beyond what are you going to do, where do you get the moral justification? Where do you get the legal justification? Where do you get the legal justification from an international level, let alone a country level? The point I'm making to you is, Bush was a war criminal. Obama was a war criminal. Obama had no justification at all to be in any of those countries. He went from 2 wars to 8. He did not have congressional approval for any of it at all. He murdered thousands of people. That is literally a war criminal. Donald Trump is functioning in the same capacity. Not just functioning in the shadows. Donald Trump, vocally, loudly, all eyes can see, launched an attack against a sovereign nation that's being backed by nuclear power. Your response to this was to pretend as if the things, your own crimes, didn't exist. The things that we did in this country didn't exist. The only thing you want to talk about is Bashar al-Assad, without really addressing this issue of what legal justification do we have to do this strike? What legal justification from an international law standpoint do we have to do this strike? And with all the blood that's on our hands, with all the people we've murdered, that we've burned alive, all the babies that we've murdered, where do we get the moral authority to be the policeman of the world and to make the determination that this strike is an adequate response? I fundamentally miss that. I am completely in the dark on that.
As I said yesterday afternoon, it is essential that the world does more to deter Assad from committing future murderous atrocities.
Who's going to stop us from committing atrocities? Who? Who? You're talking about murder. You're talking about somebody needs to stop Assad. All right. Who's going to stop us? We're functioning illegally. We need to have an understanding. We need to have a certain level of integrity when we're talking about our actions and the things that we've done in this country. Who is going to stop us? The president, by himself, be it Obama, be it Bush, be it Trump, has made the determination alone, unilaterally, that he himself can assert some God-given authority that is not given to him by Congress to go into other countries and murder their people, essentially murder civilians, murder innocent people, men, women, children, babies, aunts, mothers, brothers, fathers, dads, teachers, just people. The President of the United States, he has no legal justification for it. He has no legal justification by international law. And with the blood on our hands, as I mentioned before, he has no moral justification to pull this off. The person who's given this speech right now should probably be in prison for crimes relating to her monetizing the State Department, for crimes related to her handling of information. So let's bake that part into the cake. This person should probably also be court-martialed somewhere for the things that she did in Libya. Again, what justification are they using to do these things? What justification are they using? Just because Congress advocates its constitutional authority to control how the president wages war doesn't necessarily mean that it's okay for him to do that stuff, that particular action. Even if they stand back and say, okay, we're not going to take a role in this particular action. Well, part of that role needs to be saying, yes, the president can do this. Them not taking a role does not automatically give them justification to go into other countries and murder the civilians of that country. Full stop. I don't know where she's getting this from, but this is absurd. This is absolutely absurd.
But the action taken last night needs to be followed by a broader strategy to end Syria's civil war and to eliminate ISIS strongholds on both sides of the border. So I hope this administration will move forward in a way that is both strategic and consistent with our values.
And just what values are those? Explain to me your values. This is sounding like Tom Perez talking about your values. What are your values? What are your values? When you're monetizing the State Department, taking money for favors from the United States government, and if you want to have this conversation about ISIS, in your Podesta leaks, you mention, yourself mentioned, that Saudi Arabia was a state sponsor of terror and was spreading that shit through the region. At no point did that stop your values from taking their money. At no point did it stop your values from giving them weapons or access. Are these your values? What did your values have to do with you attacking Libya? What did your values have to do with Honduras? What did your values have to do with the Iraq war vote? What did your values have to do with you losing to Trump, sticking your head in a hole somewhere, and then popping it out when there's a chance for war. I mean, come on. This is amazing. We couldn't find Hillary Clinton to stand up for anything. The one thing we found that she's willing to stand up for is, who can we bomb? How can we get this country into a war? And how can we get bombs landing on our soil to kill our citizens for this dumbass action that she herself wanted to do? And put this in context, because understanding what she's saying she wants to do two things at once. She wants to take out ISIS, and she wants to take out Assad. Both of those groups are fighting one another. So you're going to have a war fighting two fronts at the exact same time, kind of like Obama did, ending up in these weird and ridiculous situations where groups backed by the military was fighting groups backed by the CIA. This is their plan. Come on. Please tell me that you understand that this is absurd. This is absolutely absurd. She's talking about, before Hillary Clinton lost that election, one of the things that she wanted to do was put a missile defense shield in Syria. That's what she wanted to do. She's literally was talking about shooting down a Russian jet. That's a nuclear war. Trump, to his credit, did not want to do that. Trump, damn sure not to his credit, is doing something completely different now and is following along her model of thought. Now, the only saving grace in this is that he warned Russia, showing that he didn't necessarily want to escalate this process. This loser wants to escalate that process. This is the worst piece of advice you could listen to. This is the worst piece of advice. Let's hear the rest of this guy.
And I also hope that they will recognize that we cannot in one breath speak of protecting Syrian babies and in the next close America's doors to them.
No. The only statement that works there is if we're going to be angry, if we're going to do something, we're going to make these speeches about how we care so much about the Syrian babies. It's not about shutting down the borders. It's about we won't go through the U.S. policy that has also been murdering babies. That is the only thing that matches up with that statement. What you just said makes no sense at all. I'm okay with us dropping bombs in all these places, murdering all these civilians, even though we don't have constitutional authority or international authority to go into any of these places, any of these countries. But I am really upset that Donald Trump is blocking them from coming into the country. I'm okay with murdering them. But God damn it, don't you dare stop them from coming into the country. Tell me, Hillary, which one do you think they'd be most bothered by? Not being able to come into the country or being murdered? What you're saying makes no sense at all. We need to stop. We need to let them into the country. Hey, Hillary, what about murdering hundreds of them? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Implicit in this conversation, she didn't bring it up. She didn't say anything about the number of people he's been murdering. That never came up. Nothing came up about the number of people Obama murdered. Never came up. Her focus was on Syria. Her focus was on the quote-unquote babies. She didn't care about those babies when she was taking action, killing those babies. She didn't care about those babies when Trump and Obama was taking action to kill those babies. But block them out the country? Oh, that gets her back up. That totally gets her back up. How dare you keep these Muslims out the country? But killing them? Oh yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I was so happy when this woman lost. I was hoping I would never have to see this woman again or hear her voice again. It is deplorable that she is out here making a speech trying to get more involvement into Syria. She don't care that they're backed by Russia. She has no care at all that this can lead to a wider conflict. In her mind, ooh, there's another war I can get into. I failed at all of my other wars. Here's another one that I want to fail at. I'm not even in government, and I want to put through or put out a perspective that's going to get a lot of people killed, and it's going to have bombs landing on our soil. I would not listen to this woman. This woman has failed in every foreign policy endeavor she's ever entered in. She's the last person I would go to for advice. She can't even win a presidential campaign against reality show hosts. Why is she giving advice to anybody for anything? Alright guys, if you enjoy the content, feel free to like, share, and of course, you can support the work on Patreon. Thanks guys.